Action.
Alright, Miss Girl, I'm back. We back. Just like Fine Hole. You already know. It's me, your girl, your favorite bitch, and your favorite witch. And we're going to jump to the episode. I know. Y'all finna jump me. Be honest. It's been a minute, but we're back. And we're just going to do a little rundown to get right back into it. Because I have just been ghosting and coasting and just doing anything and just living my life. And so now we're back to normal schedule programming. Okay. First segment for today, always P's favorite pieces. Like I said, I've been doing whatever because I've been feeling very 30, flirty, and thriving. Y'all didn't even get to see my hair when it looked bomb. I'm gonna put some pictures in for my birthday. I looked so cute. I'm gonna give a big shout out to Hoochie Holiday. That was a blast. Shout out to everybody that showed up in their pink, looked bomb. It was great. This week's questions that need answers: did you fix your student loan stuff if you need to fix it? If you're in the save plan or the repay plan, you need to change your stuff because you need to get it together. They're canceling that from the Big Beautiful Bill Act, all of that. Please look into that if that applies to you. That is the only question that I have for you this week. Did you do your student loan stuff? What pissed me off today is that I just been being frivolous and living my life, but I told myself I was gonna, because just the way that things was happening, it was just like, I'm like, why would I stop this? Like, for what? You only live once, right? That's what they say. Like, I can go off the beaten path a little bit, so that's what I did. So I told myself this year that I didn't want to miss a week. And I feel like I was basically consistent for like the first 4 months of the year. I didn't post at all in May, but now we're back. This week's bar for bar is Coconut Water by. He said, I act like a bougie bitch. I keep this Uzi clip, got this corset on me. It's gonna make me have juicy tits. Like, that song is a bop. Song of the summer for sure. At least my song of the summer. I don't coconut water, coconut nut. Like, oh, I love that song. So this week's conscious question that has been running through my mind is like, are you going to decide to do things that are good to you, like from a pleasure principle or ego standpoint, or are you going to do things that are good for you from a responsible, fully developed frontal lobe? All right, now we're moving to our last and final segment, which is hashtag I cannot make this shit up. And first, I'm going to start off with Happy Pride Month. Shout out to all my gay niggas, in the words of Ray J. So when we last spoke, it was tour season, and like I just said, you know, I allowed myself to feel pleasure, not pressure, because I am pressure. Period. Okay. And that's really always the theme of tour season. I feel like, you know, allow yourself to feel good. Allow yourself to live your life. On April 23rd, Venus did move into Gemini, and the energy of that, it's just very flirty, risky, platonic, just for the plot, just doing anything. It was so much unhinged stuff happening in my life around that time. And it's just like, I understand. Okay. And then also, I just feel like because it was the, you know, final life of my Saturn return, and then with the Venus being Gemini, it was just, girl, I had a ball. That's all I can say. On April 25th, Uranus did move into Gemini as well. And that will be there until 2033, if I'm not mistaken. Uranus is the planet of disruption, and you know, Gemini is the yapper. So it's like, it's giving spiritual tea. Like, what's really, we not dealing with this, what, like, you know what I'm saying, everything that glitter ain't gold. And then just to give you a little rabbit hole of astrology stuff and how, like, I be looking at stuff and thinking about stuff and the information I be, you know, looking up and stuff. So July 4th is, you know, the country's birthday, essentially. So everything has a birth chart. You can look up the birth chart of anything. So in the country's birth chart of, you know, I'm saying, it being established on July 4th in 18, whatever the fuck that was. In the United States birth chart, Uranus is in Gemini in the birth chart. And historically, based on this is not some made up shit. You can look up dates and times and things, like science is real. But historically, when Uranus returns to Gemini, is typically when this country is in a war. And it happened umpteen times and throughout history. So, you know, things, I told you, it's like a dial. Things move around. So when things move around in the United States birth chart and that Uranus comes back to Gemini because the United States has a Gemini Uranus in its birth chart, we're always in a war. The American Revolution, Civil War, World War II. It might have been the Haitian Revolution as well. Look it up. Don't play with me. I don't just be on here saying stuff. This is, yeah. So in war, you know, there always is a change of the tide. You know what I'm saying? A reconstruction of the powers that be, if you will. And then with Gemini being the sign of, you know, just very talkative, flirty, like kind of like I was saying earlier, the way that things are going to be said and given to people are also going to change. Because another thing I found out that was interesting when I was listening to Maddie was she said that the Gutenberg printing press was invented also during Uranus and Gemini, spreading the word and the news of what's going on in the country. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, this, you can't make it up. You can't make it up. So look at where Gemini is in your chart, if you know your birth chart, and try to understand what is having an uprising, what is fighting for a change, you know what I'm saying, within your life. What is the tides that are shifting in your life? Or maybe you even feel like you 16 at war. Like, who knows? I don't know. April 28th was obviously my birthday. There was something that happened that day, but I forgot to write it down, so I don't know. On May 1st, we had a full moon in Scorpio, and that was wanting to teach you to understand your emotional patterns and how you respond to things or how you allow things to affect you. And I really have to get out of when one thing isn't right, everything is ruined kind of thing. I have to get out of that. Like, it's so bad, and I've always been like that since I was a kid. So like I said, understanding your emotional patterns and things, establish boundaries around the things that you need to strengthen or be more firm about. Because girl, I was just ghosting and coasting. Like, I was just on autopilot. Just, you know what I'm saying? But it was cool. But I knew I had to get back to my real life because it was starting to fuck with my mental state. On May 1st, we also had the Mercury conjunct Chiron. And, you know, Chiron is the wounded healer. Mercury is the communicator. And that just means that, like, it's okay to talk about things and acknowledge where you're feeling. And you can be treated nicely. And people should treat you nicely because you deserve that. Like, the fuck? The full moon in Scorpio, you know, Scorpio is the underworld, the very mystique, the very mysterious, you know. So, and also the unsubconscious. So, address the things that are in the back of your mind, but also the things that are up here too, right? And I believe it was Maddie said that if you face your anxiety, you can move past it faster. Just stop lingering and and that's another thing too. My anxiety be whipping my ass about stuff, and I just let stuff just go, girl. On May the 14th, we had a Sun Mercury Cazimi. Just read between the lines. Cazimi means heart in the heart of the sun. You know, Mercury is a communicator, so to me that just means read between the lines, understand what's being put under the spotlight. In the spotlight, and nothing without your girl. In the dance floor, nothing without your girl. Get it poppin', whoa, whoa. I love that song. Oh, I miss Go-Go so much. On May the 16th, there was a new moon in Taurus. New moon is about, you know, planting that seed, intention, setting the boundary, like we talked about earlier a little bit. But also with Taurus being, you know, the majestic bull, it's just also reminding you to slow down. Everything don't have to be quick, fast, in a hurry. You can take your time to analyze things and really enjoy things and stop just trying to get things and go to the next thing. Taurus is a sign of like stability, self-worth, value, money, pleasure, reciprocity, logic, like things like that. Mercury also did go into Gemini on May the 17th. And that just gives distraction.com. Just like a lot of static, a lot of fog, a lot of like, what? What was I doing? Why did I come in here? What? Like that kind of energy. On May the 18th, Mars did move into Taurus. And Mars in Taurus is very sweetie pie vibes. It reminds me of like when you about to go to sleep and you first get the comforter out the dryer and you like lay down and it's warm, just holding you, stable, like, you know what I'm saying? On May the 18th, Mars, they're going to Taurus, and as we talked about, slow down, unplug, ground, touch grass, all that kind of stuff. Because Taurus wants intimacy and closeness, not codependency. But again, consistency. So just remember that words mean things when you're speaking to yourself, speaking over your life, you know, speaking to other people. And I told you that I hope that you had the best Taurus season that you could have, because I know I did. And I wrote down your pleasure priorities. What are the things that are your pleasure priorities? You should always just enjoy those to the fullest during Taurus season. On May 20th, we did also officially enter Gemini season, so happy birthday to y'all. And Maddie said rejection is redirection. So somebody needed to hear that. Trust your gut, your intuition, your first mind, all the things. On May 31st, we did have a full moon in Sagittarius. That gives spontaneity and adventure. Go try something new. Do something different. Change up your routine a little if you can. Because it's a conscious space for you to upgrade the dreams you've been dreaming, the wishes you've been wishing, the hopes you've been hoping, the things you've been telling yourself, the story that you've been painting. It's time for that to even be better, right? So we talked about this a few months ago. We're in the year of the fire horse, and that's ruled by the planet Jupiter. So Jupiter is currently in Cancer, and it's exalted in the sign of Cancer. So it's, like I said, setting the stage for you to be the true you. Oh, and then I saw this little quote, and I wrote it down, and I didn't know when I was going to use it, and then it just came to me, and then I was like, that goes perfect with this week's episode. And it says, remember that the future doesn't belong to the most optimized. It belongs to the most original. Lastly but not least, on June the 1st, Mercury did enter Cancer, and the first thing I heard when I was like listening to Maddie and like reading the newsletter and all that, and Channy and all that stuff, the first thing that came to my mind, it's a BTS lyric. It's two sides of a coin and they both ain't true. Like, bitch, somebody lying, and I'm gonna find out who it is. So something ain't right. So just be so fucking for real right now. Cancer season is on the way, so tend to the Cancer things. Be sure that you're nurturing yourself, taking care of your home, being patient, being, you know, kind, like we said earlier. Because the Mercury retrograde is on the way. On the 29th, we'll talk about that when we get there. So yeah, just make sure that you breathe, stretch, shake, let it go. Then don't force fixes. Like, don't be trying to fix things just like for sakes. And then another thing that I like what Maddie was mentioning, she said the acronym TEAM. Be aware of what you're giving your time, energy, attention, and money to. Period. Oh, and then the last thing I wanted to say too, when I was talking about earlier, girl, all the crazy things that was happening when Venus was in Gemini and Uranus went into Gemini back in April. Girl, it just had me swooped up. And the area of your life that you should look back to was 2018. And it was like, well, that checks out. it got real 2018 for a minute. It started getting crazy. So, yeah, I was just swept up in swoon, girl. But that's all I got. Thank you for watching. Make sure you come back, like, comment, subscribe, share. You know how we get an episode, bitches be max, be hating. Bitches be hating because they be mad. Bye, y'all.